can get this to work today. So I am the new principal for Manchester High School. For those of you that don't know, I was born and raised here in Manchester. I graduated in '98 from Manchester High School. I taught at Mountain View Elementary for 14 years. I was an instructional coach at Manchester Middle for 4. And then I did leave the county for several years and did some administrative work in another system, and now I'm back here at Manchester High School. So I'm so excited to be back at my alma mater, and we're going to talk about some things in a little while about bringing spirit back and that Blue Devil pride back here. But before we do that, I want to introduce our assistant principal, DeMonte Prather.
Just like Dr. Smith, I'm a graduate of Manchester High School in 2012. I had 8 years of experience in education. My first 4 years, I was in a math class, middle school math. I taught 8th grade math. I feel good being back home. It's always a great day to be a Blue Devil. We come back to help our young adults, guide them to be successful. The good thing about seeing someone that's been in the same shoes, that be successful, that's been in the same school, walked the same hallways, when our kids are able to see that, they grow from it, and it helps them, push them to be better.
We have Ms. Kite, who is our counselor. You want to speak? You want to introduce yourself?
Okay, my name is Jenny Kite. This is my 4th year here at Manchester. Retired from the state of Alabama after 25 years. This is my 4th year here. And I've got some things to go over with you as far as credits and community service and things to keep you in the know, so we'll wait till we get to that part of the presentation.
And then we have our instructional coach, Mr. Mason Brackett. He's an alumni of Manchester High School. You don't want to speak? Okay, he's good. He wants to speak. So he also graduated here, so we're excited. We're just excited for this school year. We've been doing a lot of planning, and our staff is ready. And so we're just looking forward to everything that we have going on. I'm going to do a few introductions of teachers, because these are the teachers that your students will be seeing. We do have CTAE classes and some electives that they may not be in this time, but our main content area teachers, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to introduce them, have them stand up, wave, just so that you'll kind of have an idea of who will be teaching your children. So we have a new teacher that will be teaching Literature and Composition 1, which used to be known as 9th Lit. Okay, so we have new ELA standards, so the names of some of our classes have changed. So Miss Cott, where's Miss Cott? That's Miss Cott. She will be teaching your students Literature and Composition 1. And then for Algebra 1, we have Miss Tucker. There's Miss Tucker. She'll be teaching Algebra 1 this year. We have, for World History, Coach Gibson. And for Physical Science, we also have a new face, Miss Black. I was supposed to call her Miss Hicks, because Miss Hope Black, Miss Black, and Coach Griffin are both alumni of Manchester High School. So yeah, we have a lot of teachers and staff that graduated from here and are back because we're vested in this school system. So our mission at Manchester High School is to foster a safe, supportive learning environment where students make good choices, take pride in themselves and their school, and show respect for others and their community. And then our vision is that we envision a culture where every student is empowered to lead with integrity, take pride in their achievements, build respectful relationships that prepare them for success in school and beyond. And that's one thing I've talked to our teachers about this week, is that, yes, we want our students to be successful here at school, but we've got to prepare them for the real world outside of this school building. And so that's one of the things, building their relationships, showing them what it's like to be respectful out in the community. So we're doing a lot of things with this vision moving forward this school year, not next school year. So Ms. Kite, this is the part that will talk about the courses, electives, and the credits that you need to graduate, so I'm going to turn it over to her.
Okay, so basically, high school is different from middle school as far as it's totally based on credits. I know in the past, elementary, middle school, students will get promoted to the next grade even if they failed a class or two. Everything is based on each individual course. The students will be required 28 credits to graduate. They will take 8 courses per school year, 4 first semester and 4 totally different classes second semester. Okay? So basically, y'all are taking 8 classes. You need at least 5 of those 8. We want you to earn all 8, but at least 5 of those 8 course credits will be required to be promoted to a sophomore. All right, and then 13 credits to be a junior, 20 credits to be a senior, and then 28 to graduate. Okay, we always, have students and parents that might have failed a grade in elementary, and can I just get promoted up to my right grade with my right classmates? And that's not how it works once they get to high school. It's totally based on credits. On the screen, if you can't see it, basically every student's going to be required to pass 4 of every core class. That's 4 English, 4 math, 4 science, 4 history. And then everyone will take health and PE. A lot of our students take weight training and team sports, but this doesn't count for the state required health and PE, so that's one requirement for all students. And then in Meriwether County, we require that they have at least 3 pathway courses. Now that can be 3 CTAE courses, which are our career tech pathways, or it can be our fine arts, with visual arts, theater, and band. Okay, so any one of those will satisfy that requirement. That's a Meriwether County thing, that's not a state thing. We want them to be proficient in a pathway to get them prepared for their future. Also, in these courses, in the core classes, your students were going to be required to take at least one end-of-course test, which has, or one end-of-course course that actually has an exam at the end that's worth 20% of their grade. Okay, so 9th grade, if your student's taking geometry this year, you will not have any end-of-course exams. Okay, those students taking Algebra 1, which will be 2nd semester, you'll have an end-of-course exam at the end of 2nd semester. Okay, and then when you get to 10th grade, your English, the Lit Comp 2 will be an end-of-course exam course as well, and then 11th grade we test U.S. history and biology. Okay, so just know that you'll have those along the way. Now, basically, I think she's got the different electives up here that your students could be taking as 9th graders. They're a little more limited on courses that they can take in the 9th grade because a lot of them, if you're taking English, they're going to have reading enrichment 1st semester and then English 9 2nd semester. With math, we do an enrichment with math with foundations of algebra and then algebra. So that's taking up 4 of their 8 blocks right there, just with the English and the math. And then they'll have their world history and physical science. And then most of our 9th graders, we encourage them to go ahead and get the health and PE out of the way. And so basically, most of them only got to pick one other elective. Those that are already starting in geometry were able to get in 2 other electives. Okay, starting in 10th grade is when you'll be able to start in your pathway courses. We offer several different CTA pathways. We have early childhood, agriculture, healthcare, graphic design, and we brought back our business pathway. And when our fine arts that I said earlier, we have band, visual arts, and drama. Okay? You will get a copy of your schedule tonight. Don't count it as set in stone. We hope that nothing's going to have to change, but we've got new students coming in. We're trying to balance class sizes. So you will get a copy of that schedule tonight. And if anything changes, we usually give out another copy the first day of school just to make sure you know where you're going. Okay? Community service hours is a requirement. In order to graduate, you need at least 10 hours per year for a total of 40 before you graduate. Now, you could do all 40 in 1 year. That's fine. We'll meet that requirement, but you have to have 40 before you graduate. Okay? I've got a Google Classroom that I've created for all 9th graders and parents and a Remind. If y'all will take out your phone, I'm going to go ahead and give you the code. If you can go ahead and join the Remind. And then just put in the notes the code for the freshman Google Classroom. We send out a lot of information to students and parents. Teachers send out information on here, so it's a good way to stay in tune with what's going on. So if you, with your phone for the Remind, if you'll text the number 81010, text the number 81010, and the message you're going to send is the @ symbol 7H9KCG3. Repeat. All right, you're texting the number 81010. It's the person you're texting. And the message you're going to type to 81010 is the @ symbol, the number 7H, number 9KCG3. Ma'am?
Do you have a paper with all that on it?
We can get it, yes.
Okay.
Come take a picture of this. All right, is everybody good on that? All right, maybe taking notes on your phone, here's the code for the Google Classroom for all ninth graders and parents. It's going to be 54 HMS 47A. I'll repeat that. Google Classroom code 54 HMS 47A. Okay? And also we encourage all students, and I know they have a hard time checking their school email, but we highly recommend them checking their school email. Turn your notifications on so that you can get that, just to stay in tune so you don't miss out on different opportunities or activities that we might have going on, there's things you've got to sign up for, and so forth. And that's pretty much it on credits. Just, we try to encourage ninth graders, this is when, you know, your GPA starts. It's going to follow you till graduation. I've had so many seniors over the years that are struggling to get their GPA up to get into college they want, or to get a scholarship because they goofed off their ninth grade year because they thought, oh, it don't matter, as long as I pass, I'm good. So please, ninth graders, please take it serious. This is when your transcript and GPA starts that will follow you all the way through graduation and college. All right, thank you all for coming. Any questions?
Ms. Kite will be available once we finish this presentation and we start moving into the school building. She'll be available if you need to get that code, and we'll also have it put on social media. If you have social media, we'll try to get that posted before the evening's over with. So one thing that we are doing a little different this year with ninth grade is we're not having a ninth grade academy. So in the past, all ninth graders have stayed on the same hall the same time, all year long. And so they were on B Hall. The only time they really left the hallway and went somewhere different was during when they went to either their elective. Well, it was their elective is when they left. And so I just felt like you all are high schoolers just like everybody else, and you want to experience high school just like our 10th, 11th, and 12th graders do. And so y'all are starting as a high school student day one. So you're going to get to travel the campus just like everybody else. So we're hoping that it'll help with some of the behaviors and some of the drama that we've seen with the kids being together all day long on the same hallway. So that is one thing that we're going to be doing different this school year. The bell schedule, and like I said, we'll put this out, but this year, so the doors open at 7:30, and for students that ride the bus, they're dropped off on the Perry Street side, right across from the dentist office. The buses are dropped off and they come directly into the lunchroom, and that's where they stay until we dismiss to go to we're going to go to homeroom. We're going to talk about homeroom in just a minute, but if your student is a walker, or if you're dropping your student off, you'll need to just pull in the student parking lot and drop them off at the front door to go in the gym. Okay, they'll stay in the gym until the bell rings for them to transition into homeroom. If for some reason your student wants to get breakfast, once they get in the gym, the adults that are in there will allow them to walk over to the lunchroom to get breakfast. What we find is that most people that are going in the gym don't want to go eat. And so, you know, we don't really have a lot of traffic going back and forth, but they do have that option if they want to go back to the lunchroom to get something to eat for breakfast that morning. So used to, we had homeroom that was like a 25, 30-minute homeroom where they would go in there and they would work on things with their teachers, with their homeroom teacher or their advisement teacher if they're struggling in an area. It's just basically a time for intervention. So the county has made some changes this year with technology. So every student will have the same Chromebook that they'll use every day, all day long, but they cannot take them home. So they're doing that because what we're finding is that a lot of Chromebooks are being messed up, and it's hard to know who's doing it because it's going through so many hands throughout the day. So the county is now requiring that every child have a Chromebook, and if something happens to that Chromebook, there is a fine for that, okay? And so you will be fined for that, and until it's paid, they won't be able to graduate, even though they're ninth graders, if it's their senior year and they haven't paid it, they won't be able to graduate or get their transcript. Okay, so that is coming from the top. That is not something that we came up with, but that is something that the system is doing. There's a lot of Chromebooks that get destroyed. So we're trying to teach these students, they got to be responsible. So what they're gonna do is they'll go to homeroom. We're starting at 7:56. We've actually made our transitions a little bit longer this year because we're finding that kids, especially now that we have our ninth graders are gonna be traveling from B Hall, which is all the way down here by the where the lunchroom is, and they can go all the way across campus to J Hall and E Hall. Okay, so we're going to do a 6-minute transition, which means they'll have 4 minutes after they've been changing classes. At the 4-minute time, there'll be a warning, and they'll know they have 2 minutes to get to class. Okay, so we had to adjust our schedule just a little bit. So the day will actually start at 7:56. So students need to be in the building because at 7:50 we're ringing the bell. And they've got to be in their classroom by 7:56. That's when the day starts. And then our day ends at 3:20. So they'll go back to homeroom at the end of the day. They'll turn their Chromebooks back in to their homeroom teacher. That way it's being charged, and they'll come back the next day, go back to homeroom, and get that Chromebook again. Okay, so that's our schedule. All right. So every class will receive a syllabus on the first day of school. And in that syllabus, it tells you everything that's expected. It'll tell you what the grading policy is. It'll tell you what percentage a quiz is, what percentage a project is, a daily assignment. It'll tell you just what the expectations are on turning in work, if it's late. So every teacher will give your child a syllabus. Please make sure when they bring it home that you're going over it with them and that they're looking at it because if they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing in class, the teachers are going to say, well, remember, you got a syllabus, this is what it tells you to do. So they should make sure that they're reading it and they know what they're supposed to be doing for class. All right, I'm going to turn it over to...
All right, y'all, real quick, I'm going to hit on some discipline points. We have a motto that every child will hear every day at the end of the announcement. And it says, make good choices, have pride, and show respect. One thing that I'm real big on in the building, that we all admin are real big on, is the child respect every adult in the building, from the top to the bottom. They're doing what they're asked to do. They're following the rules and expectations that are being set. And every teacher in here knows that we've talked about it, and the expectation will be set from day one. And we expect every child in our building to follow those expectations. Our goal is to make sure that this is a safe environment for our staff and our students. We know your child is here to get an education, but our main goal is to make sure they're safe and they're in good hands while they're in our building. So to help with that, we make sure they show respect to everybody in the building. We make sure that they're doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. They're in class on time. When we give kids, and everybody understand they're teenagers, they make mistakes. They all gonna make mistakes, but we're gonna be there to guide them and help them to overcome those mistakes that they're gonna make. We do a good job of sitting down and talking with the kids, understand the correction that they need to make a mistake, but there are consequences to mistakes. We want them to understand that they have to follow the rules, and there are consequences to the rules that are not followed. Discipline is not all about punishment. It's about having a good environment for everybody in the building and for everybody to understand that this is a safe place and that I'm here to get an education. We want you to enjoy these 4 years of high school. This year, your freshman year, is probably the most important year. We have some kids that take their freshman year as a joke, and they feel like they can overcome or recover as they go on. But that GPA is hard to change. It's hard to change it. So go in from day one and set the tone for yourself. Go out, ask questions, ask your teacher if you need extra help. Ask them. They're here to help you. That's why they're here. They get paid to help you. You are the reason why everybody's in the building. So make sure you take advantage of it. All right. The next thing I'm going to talk to y'all about real quick is our cell phone policy. The cell phone policy for the county is a zero tolerance cell phone policy. A student caught with a cell phone, the teacher is not going to go back and forth with that student about giving them the cell phone. They're going to ask for it. If the student do not give it to them, they're going to call admin. Admin is going to come to confiscate it. If they do not give it to us, we're going to call you and we're going to ask you to come pick them up. It's the reason why these rules are changing. The most important part in the classroom is for them to get an education. And we want them to get the best education that they can possibly get in the classroom without distractions. Dr. Smith, you want to add something to it?
So just with the cell phone policy, and like I said, like you said, this is district-wide. So I'm sure y'all seen it on the county's website, all schools. I have some elementary school teachers sitting here. I know y'all, I'm sure they've told y'all the same thing. So this is everybody in the system. One thing that we are going to allow here, okay, as long as it's not a problem, is that when they're in breakfast, or if they're at lunch, or when they're transitioning from class to class, they can have their phone out if they're listening to music, okay? We're just asking when they're in the classroom that their phones, and they're gonna have a place to put them when they come in, that they're put up. Because what we're seeing is a lot of students are not engaged in doing what they're supposed to be doing in class time because they're too busy on their phones. Okay, and we've got to do what we've got. If we're going to make progress, that's one thing that we've got to start with, is the cell phone use. If there's an emergency, if there's something that you need your child for, please call the front office. Okay, we will be glad to get that child up there if it's something that you absolutely need to speak to your child about. Okay, we'll be glad to. But so that's the plan. As long as the students are doing what they're supposed to be doing, we'll keep that in place. If it becomes a problem, then we'll have to remove that altogether. But that means the earbuds, the headphones, all that has to be put up. Okay, we're not going to have any of that out. If you need it in class, if your teacher says, hey, you need your headphones or your earbuds today, then the teacher will allow you to have them out. But otherwise, everything has to be put up except for those certain times of the day. And we'll keep, the students will know that because it'll be on the announcements every day, and we'll remind them over and over again about that. All right, so this probably won't be a big issue with ninth graders like it has been with students that drive. Plus, what we noticed is with homeroom, a lot of students just wouldn't come to homeroom in the mornings, and they would just show up at school at like 8:30. And so that was considered a tardy for the day. So there's a new tardy policy in place. There is a hard copy. Everybody will get a book bag today, and in that book bag, there's a hard copy of the cell phone policy. There's a hard copy of the tardy policy. And the student handbook is in there also for the system. But basically, it just outlines what's going to happen if your student is tardy. Now, there's a difference between an excused tardy and an unexcused tardy. I mean, if your student is late because they had a dentist appointment and you bring a doctor's note in, that's perfectly okay. We're talking about the students who are consistently tardy and are missing class instruction because we have some that is over and over and over. So we're trying to, one of our school improvement goals for this year is addressing attendance. And the system is even getting a little bit stricter with attendance and making sure that all students are following the attendance policy. So that's in your packet. I'll let you read over that. And if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to any of us. And he spoke on discipline. Let me go back to mine. We talked about drop-off in the morning. We talked about service hours, athletics. Mason, do you have anything you want to say about athletics? So we offer, let's make sure I'm not telling the right thing. So we have, which some of this has already started, but we have football, we have softball. They have their first game Saturday. We have softball. We have flag football starting this year. Volleyball's we're still in the early stages of trying to figure out how volleyball is going to look. We offer basketball for boys and girls, soccer, we do track, we have band, we have baseball, we have, they have to remind me, so we have so much for your kids to be involved in. We have one-act play, and so we have a lot of stuff that these kids can get involved in. So if your child's interested in any of that, and they'll hear about it when they get here to school, and so we want them to participate in everything that we have going on here. One thing that you all have seen, and so I have a leadership team that we sit down and meet and we talk about things that we're implementing. And the majority of the people on that team are alumni, and so we all talked about it. We're like, we've always had to pay class dues. My son graduated in 2020. He had to pay class dues. So for class dues, and there's a packet in your book bag also that you'll be getting today, basically all we're doing with class dues is there's some things that we just don't have the funding for because you just can't pay for some things with some of our general funds. So if we want, if we'll have class officers, and if they want the class to have t-shirts, dues will go towards that t-shirt. If they want to, maybe at the end of the year have a field day or some kind of cookout celebration, the dues will go towards those activities. We have homecoming parade, and this year, every grade level will have a float that represents their class. Okay, so more than likely, especially because the freshman dues are not that high, there may not be a lot of money that is rolling over, but whatever is left will continue to follow them in their account, because Cohort 29 has an account. It will follow them until their senior year. And every year, those dues go towards something else. Every year, because I know a lot of sponsors have talked about getting t-shirts, doing the same thing. Celebrations, homecoming parades, juniors will help pay for prom, and seniors, some of their money goes towards prom. Because when they get to be a senior, there's a lot of things, and there's some senior parents in here that just have some that graduate that can tell y'all, there's a lot of things that you have to pay for your senior year. And so some of our dues that we have will go towards that. So that's what the class dues are for. And like I said, it is strictly for what those things. It's not paying for anything that you see outside of this building. It is some things that we can do for your students so that they want to be here and they're enjoying their high school experience. So if you pay class dues tonight, Miss Williams, if you'll stand up. Miss Williams she's the freshman sponsor this year. So if you're paying class dues tonight, you can pay her. We accept cash, do we do money orders? Cash, money orders, and we also, and this is for anything that we have moving forward, but we also have online option now. Okay, so there is, where do they go to find that option?
You'll go to the Meriwether County website, and it'll be at the top of the page. It'll be parent/student pay for it. And you'll just follow the instructions as you go. It's very simple. You'll pay it that way with your credit card.
So you go to the Meriwether County's website, and like she said, it says parent/student pay portal, and then follow the directions moving that way. So those are your three options for paying that. And then y'all, it says Blue Devil Pride. So that is one thing that we are really pushing this year. We're bringing the spirit back to this school. We're having pep rallies. We're having Miss Sunshine pageant. So for those of y'all that have ever been to Manchester, that's a pageant. We're having Miss Sunshine pageant. We're having the homecoming parade. We're going to have the floats in the homecoming parade. Y'all help me with some stuff we talked about that we're going to be doing this year. We said pet rallies. What? We're having a homecoming dance this year. Some more information will come out about that. Of course, we have prom like we've always had. So throughout the year, you're going to be hearing some things that we're doing. And we're doing it, y'all, because yes, we want kids, they are here to learn. Okay? That's why they're here. But we want them to come and enjoy being at high school. I remember walking these halls, and this was the best time, believe it or not, I can't believe I said this. That was the best time of my life, is being in high school. And that's what I want your kids to experience when they're here, is they want to be here, they want to come to school, and we don't have to worry about tardy policies and attendance policies because they want to be here. We don't have, they're coming because they're like, well, there's some exciting stuff going on at Manchester High School. I've got to go to school today, I can't miss. Okay, so we're excited. I can't wait to see all your faces in the building on Wednesday. It is Wednesday that we start. Y'all, it's all starting to run together. We're just in survival mode at this point. But I'm trying to make sure I got everything covered. So what we're going to do from this point is teachers, you can go ahead and head back to your classrooms. So they're going to go back that way. If you want to walk the campus to figure out where your classes will be, there's going to be adults throughout the campus that will help you get around and make sure you know where you're going. If I can have Miss Stacy, Chris, Bree, and if a couple of the coaches can stay up here and help us pass out. So if y'all can just kind of spread out, what we're going to do is, so your book bags. Monte, are the book bags out there? Are they on the rolling cart? Okay. So if you want, book bags are in the lobby. So when you go out, you'll get your book bag, and it has all the papers in it that you need for tonight. Okay? So they're in there. Miss Stacy, right here, is going to come to the front, and she has your schedules. So she'll pass out schedules. Chris Porter with the Wraparound Center. Do you want to talk about the Wraparound Center for just a minute?
I would love to, actually. My boss would love to.
Okay, you want to come talk about the Wraparound Center?
I'm so excited that y'all are here. I'm also from here. I grew up here in Manchester, and it's a wonderful place to be. Manchester is gosh, I graduated. Graduated. I was an '82 graduate, so I'm old. So anyway, but I'm here as Wraparound Center. It's one of the things that we try to do is help our kids. My children I don't have any children anymore. They're older now. But so I wanted your children to be ours. Wraparound Centers for those times that sometimes, guess what? I forgot a pencil. I forgot my socks. I stepped off the bus and my socks got wet. One of the things we do is we try to help you. One of the things we try to do is be a safe zone for your child. Sometimes if we just need someone to talk to. Some place that we can have a place that we can just sit, relax if something's going on. And we talk and have a talk about things. The whole thing about it is to have fun here too, but also we have to have a place to be safe, and this is a great place to be. Wraparound Center is in A Hall, so we are there to help and support our kids. If we call you and say, hey, let's talk, we'll call you and say we're missing something or we want to talk something, because Chris will be here all the time, 24/7. It feels like 24/7. We all are here 24/7, it feels like. But we also have, if you didn't know, we have wraparound centers in all the schools, because it's so important for our school system to make sure that we help our kids. We also have a mentor program. I have one of my mentors here with me today. So what they do is they have opportunities to talk to students that need to have a little extra time to talk. So it's all about support, and that's what we're here for you. Of course, we offer the great things that are happening. Academics are very important, but also the ability to have a little help, a little support, a little help when it comes to little things. And so what we also have is our nursing program. We have a school nurse. We're missing one right now, but we're part of that, so we will help you with the nursing if something happens. So Chris Borders, who is going to be here all the time for our wraparound center, he is my assistant, will be here for the nursing program. Chris, you want to talk about?
Sure. We have some nursing forms, so if your child needs to take any type of medication, or if your child has a stomach ache or a headache, we cannot give out medication unless this form is filled out. So before you go into the classrooms and whatnot, please stop by and see me and fill out this form. I would hate to turn a sick kid away just because I can't give a medication for a headache, okay? So just come by and see me.
And I'm gonna let Ms. Carol Johnston come up and talk to y'all about something that they started last school year, right?
Mr. and Mrs. Ryan Moore and myself purchased a banner. It's 18 feet long, 5 feet wide. It has every ninth grader that attended Manchester Middle School on there. And what we want you to do is I'm going to use my grandson, Tynan. Tynan will find his name on there, and he will put his hand in the blue paint, put it on that. That is his pledge that he is going to do the best that he can while he's in high school. Their senior night, when they'll come back and they'll put a white handprint on top of that saying, I did it. And if they get accepted to college, they'll bring Miss Dawn Craven or myself that paper, and we will find the logo for the school or the school mascot and put it in the middle of that handprint. If they were in 8th grade last year and they were part of football, basketball, baseball, cheerleading, whatever, we put stickers by their names for the parents that gave us that information. Like Tynan was in the band, he was in jazz band, so he has 2 things. Jonathan Craven, he was baseball, so he has a baseball and concert band. And then when anything they did in high school academics, we will put a sticker underneath their handprints. And we will keep this banner and they'll have it for their first class reunion so they can say, this is what I did. We want the community and ourselves as parents want them to feel good about school, being successful, reaching out. And there are some people that don't go to college. That's fine. Be successful in whatever you do there too, and we will figure out what we can put on the middle of their hand for that too. But we want everybody to go beyond Manchester and show how great Manchester High School is. In the middle of the banner, it says class of 2029. And after we finish the banks and the strides, we'll give it to Dr. Smith and she'll put it somewhere for them to see it, so they can remember they made a pledge. So when they go out, after they get their stuff, come out this way, I'll be out there with the banner and the paint so that they can put their handprint on.
Okay, so just a reminder, book bags are out the door, so after you get your book bag, like she said, if you'll just go out the side door of the lobby of the auditorium, that's where she'll be to do the handprints, schedules. So Chris has the nurse stuff, Miss Stacy has schedules, and then Bree will be taking up any dues if you're paying dues. So we do appreciate you all coming. We're excited for Wednesday, and we go Big Blue.
Go Blue.